Hi, I'm back. This is Jessica Lynn, and I am here. Today I'm at the studio, I'm not at home. We're talking happiness tips still, and this is part of the Serenity Experience in Riverside. And today I have a special guest. It's going to be Mitch Korman from Korman and Company. They're a law firm located in the Riverside neighborhood, and there's Mitch right now. We are going to let me see if I can make this work. One second. Of course, it always works when you're testing it. There you are. Hi, how are you?
Hey Jen, I'm good, thanks. How about you?
Good, thank you. So I was hoping that you could share with us because you're co-chair of the Riverside BIA, and I know a lot of people aren't really familiar with what is a BIA or what's the purpose. And it was your dad who started it. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Riverside BIA was the second BIA to be formed in the city of Toronto. The first one was the Bloor West Village BIA, and that was approximately, I think, 42 years ago. And our BIA was created about 40 years ago, and my dad was one of the guys that created it. And it's basically a group of like-minded individuals, which are all the business owners within a certain district. And in our case, it goes from basically Don Valley Parkway along Queen Street East until the Jimmy Simpson Park, which is then the border of Leslieville. So that's basically the Riverside BIA. And the idea was that we'd get all the business owners together. This is going back 40 years ago. And we would raise money for special events, raise money to beautify the neighborhood, do charitable endeavors, whatever all these business owners wanted to do to create an harmonious, great neighborhood for everybody to live in. So that's how it started out.
And it is a really, because there might be people listening who have not physically been to Riverside before, but it's a really vibrant neighborhood. There's stuff to see everywhere. There are murals, there are patios, in a normal year, there are events in Jimmy Simpson Park all the time, and street festivals, and it's the kind of neighborhood that you want to be a part of. And I think a huge portion of that is thanks to the BIA from everything I can tell, anyway, from my experience of working with it.
It wasn't always this way. I mean, 40 years ago, when I was a kid growing up, because my parents had a building that my office is in right now that they bought about 60 years ago. And back then, Queen and Broadview was, a very blue-collar, working-class neighborhood. Along Broadview, there were all kinds of factories. There were a lot of garment factories on Broadview and also on Carlaw. And my dad was in the clothing business, so he started his store at Queen and Broadview because he was very close proximity to pant makers, shirt makers, and things like that. I remember right now there's where the Bank of Montreal is in our neighborhood, and there's a Dollarama, and there's also a liquor store, and this is across the road from me and over one block. That used to all be one big building, which was Woolworths. So I remember as a kid going to Woolworths, and all the factory workers would come to the lunch counter, and there were all these women in blue smocks, and they would give you the daily special, which might have been like open-faced hot turkey sandwich or whatever. And it goes back a long time, but that's what the neighborhood was like. And it was vibrant and alive because of all those factories and because of all the workers coming to the neighborhood every day. It was amazing. But then when the factories shut down, I guess that would be maybe 25 years ago, and we used to have TD Bank, Royal Bank, Bank of Montreal, Bank of Commerce, Bank of Montreal, all of them were in there. And then factories shut down and all the banks left. The only one that stuck with us was Bank of Montreal. But every other bank that we had, all five of the big ones, left our neighborhood when all the workers left. And we went through a very quiet, tough time because the shopkeepers were suffering back then because there were people weren't around to buy in their shops. So we went through a really hard time where the streetscape of the Queen Street East was lots of vacancies and nothing vibrant going on, and that's when the BIA was so important because the businesses that were in existence, banded together and they worked hard to try and get new businesses to come in, try to promote living in our neighborhood because a lot of people left the neighborhood, and it took a long, long time, but eventually people started coming back. And the other thing that happened was those factories that were on Carlaw and on Broadview were repurposed. most of them have been converted into really cool, funky lofts where, people have moved back into. And we've had a tremendous resurgence of our neighborhood. But throughout it all, the reason why it stayed successful is because of, endeavorments like the BIA, which made sure that, new businesses were being attracted. Because if you let your neighborhood go, then it just becomes, a wasteland, and nobody wants to live there. Nobody wants to start a business. So that's what has happened over the years. And I'm happy that things have become amazing again in our neighborhood. But it's not perfect because our neighborhood has really, really suffered through the pandemic. The last 12 months have been awful for us. I mean, you can still walk down Queen and Broadview and see animated storefronts, and we've been doing, everything to create a great, positive neighborhood. But there are lots of vacancies, and lots of bars and restaurants have had to shut down. That hasn't been good. And with your help, you've actually helped us revive the neighborhood and keep it going by just putting simple things, lighting up our windows, putting artwork in our windows, creating an animated streetscape have tremendously helped our neighborhood because it actually gives people, reason to walk through our neighborhood, gives them hope, and things will come back, and they are coming back slowly but surely. So, we do whatever we can to just make sure that we don't lose the momentum that we've had up until the pandemic hit.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. It's weird. For me, I'm used to standing in a booth with my art and hearing people's reactions immediately. So it's been a strange experience to put it up and then walk away from it and not and not be there with it to see the impact that it's having on people. I just sort of have to trust that it's doing what I can and that it's backing a bit of circle and a bit of hope. And I think it's truly one of those things where we have to stay together to get through it, right? We have to all lift each other up in whatever way we can, whatever capacity we're capable of on any given day, and see it through to the other side and still have a vibrant neighborhood when we come out at the end of the pandemic.
Absolutely. Yeah, and with my law firm, we're still closing real estate deals in my law firm, but we're doing it virtually. People are not walking into my office, which is a storefront. But that doesn't mean that the neighbors in the neighborhood are not walking, because they have to. Everybody has to get out, go for a walk, and it sure is a lot nicer to go for a walk in a neighborhood where there's, Christmas decorations, in the windows, and things are lit up and animated, and, that's why I was so happy that you did our windows, because I know that even though, the lights might be off in our office, people are still walking by and still want to be in a nice environment where they can enjoy, artwork or whatever.
Well, thank you for providing the windows too, because I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it without all the businesses who agreed to let their windows be used. So I'm very grateful.
And the shopping's coming back too. The bars and restaurants, they're very resilient, and we have great business owners in our neighborhood. I walked by Comrade the other day. Comrade, it's a bar. It's not like their restaurant that was doing takeout food before the pandemic hit. But you know what? You walk by their shop, their bar. The front windows are open, and they have a tremendous selection of spirits and wines and all kinds of things that you can't buy in the liquor store.
Yep.
And you can buy it right out through their front window, which is amazing.
That's pretty cool.
And if you're looking for a unique gift, a unique thing to try out, go to Comrade. Happy to see, we've got a new Thai restaurant I think it's called Santander, that is opening up in our neighborhood right in the middle of a pandemic, which I also think is amazing. The Cooley's been running a great takeout service. So the bars, restaurants, have been modifying what they do, and I hope that people continue to go there and shop there with whatever comes our way. The good news is we're going to be first. We're going to be first in line for having our patios open again this year. So that's also
last year too.
Yeah.
Having the cafe to go.
Last year, and this year, May, we're going to start building those patios, and they're going to be better and bigger than they were last year, and it's going to be great in our neighborhood again.
Cool. So, that's the spirit.
It'll be good. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us, and again
Thank you for doing a great job in keeping the artwork in our neighborhood alive and vibrant and animated, and changing it up. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.
Bye, Mitch.
Take care. Bye-bye.